Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to talk about graphing quadratic functions that are in vertex form. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is talk about what this graph is to the right. Okay, so okay, so for any family of functions, like the quadratic functions, the graph of the most basic one of those functions is called the base graph. Okay, so the base graph shows the shape of the graph. Okay, and it shows all the important features of the graph. Okay, now this is true for a lot of different function families, and we're actually going to talk next week about using base graphs more generally. Okay, now for quadratic functions, okay, the base graph is the graph of y equals x squared. Okay, and that's the graph that we see here. Okay, now I want to point out a couple of important features of this graph. Now we know that the center part is called the vertex. Okay, so in this base graph, we know that the vertex is the point 0, 0. We can see it there. Okay, we know that it is parabola shaped. Okay, in fact, we know that all quadratic functions are parabola shaped, right? That's the point of the base graph. It shows us the overall shape of the graph. Okay, and then we also have two other points that are very important for us. Okay, so we're going to look at this point here and this point here. Okay, now these are called the key points. Okay, and they are -1, 1 and +1, 1. And you can see them marked here on the graph. Okay, so we're going to use these to give us an idea of the width of the graph. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the actual process for graphing using the vertex form. Okay, so because we're in the vertex form, we're going to start by graphing the vertex. Okay. So here's our method for graphing using the vertex form. Okay, So the first thing we're going to do is write down the vertex. Okay, and plot that point. Okay. Now we are going to look at the other key points. So the first key point is going to be to the left of the vertex. Okay. On the base graph, that was the point -1, 1. Okay. So we are going to find the new key point. Okay. So we're going to move left 1. And then we're going to find its height by going up or down A. Okay. And then we're going to do the second key point. So the second key point on the base graph would be that point 1, 1. So we're going to find it by moving right 1 and then up or down A. Okay. So if you want to think about this and compare it to how we graphed lines, right? This is very similar to the slope-intercept method. So in the slope-intercept method, we started by graphing the y-intercept. And in this example, we're starting by graphing the vertex, right? Then in the slope-intercept method, we used the slope to find a second point. And here, we're using the A value to find 2 other key points. Okay? Now, let's look at an example of how to actually do this. Okay? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and look at how to graph this. Okay, let's go ahead and put our graph in. So the first thing I want to do is start by writing down the vertex. Okay, so remember the vertex form looks like y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, right? And then I know that my vertex is hk. Okay, so when I compare this, I should be able to see that for me, my vertex is going to be the point 1, 3. Okay, this minus sign that you see in our equation, this right here, is the same minus sign that you're seeing right there, right? It is just part of the equation. So my vertex is positive 1, positive 3. Okay, so I'm going to look for that point. Positive 1 moves it to the right 1, and then 3 moves it up 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here is my vertex. Okay, then I'm going to look at the other key points. Okay, so my A value is positive 2. Okay, so this is really all I need actually for both of these key points. So I'm going to start by doing my first key point. I'm going to move to the left. Okay, so I'm moving to the left 1 from my vertex. Okay, and then A is 2, so I'm going to move up 1, 2. Okay, so this is that plus 2 that we're seeing in the equation. So this is going to be my key point. I'm going to mark it there. Okay, so my first key point I can see is the point 0, 5, right? So it was left 1 and then up 2. Now my second key point, I'm going to start at the vertex again, and I'm going to go right 1. Okay, and then I'm still going to go up by A, so 1, 2, right, that plus 2. Okay, so my second key point I can see is the point 2, 5. Okay, so you're going left 1 for the first key point, and then up A, right, up because it's positive, and always A. That gives me the point 0, 5. For my second key point, I'm going to the right 1. That's what's giving me the 2. And then I'm going up 2 because of A. So that's what's giving me the 5. Okay. Now, I'm going to erase these little lines where oops, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to erase these lines where I actually drew this in so that I can graph this without too much stuff on it. Okay, I want you to be able to see the shape of the graph. Okay, so the first key point was the point 0, 5, right? That was right here. And my second key point was the point 2, 5. Right, that point was here. Okay, now it's important to remember that all quadratic functions will have a parabola shape. Okay, they will all be U-shaped. So when I go to draw my graph, I know what shape it's going to be. It's going to be the U shape. So I'm just going to connect these 3 points with my best U-shaped graph. Okay, like this. All right. We will do more examples in class, but I will see you guys there.